There are 2 words you speak every day, 2 words so small they can pass through your lips unnoticed, so familiar they can seem ordinary, so simple the ego may dismiss them as nothing more than language, and yet these 2 words carry the architecture of your life within them. They are the words, I am. Before every identity you claim, before every limitation you accept, before every possibility you open, before every prison you build in thought, before every doorway you walk through in faith, these 2 words stand like sacred guardians at the entrance of your consciousness. I am is not merely a phrase. It is a declaration. It is a seed. It is a spiritual signature. It is the place where the invisible begins to take form. It is a moment where you either agree with the small, frightened self that was trained by the world, or you agree with the deeper divine self that existed before the world ever named you. Every time you say, I am, you're not simply describing yourself, you are instructing yourself. You are sending a message into the deep interior mind. You are telling the body what to prepare for. You are telling the heart what it is allowed to receive. You are telling the subconscious what is normal. You are telling your choices what direction to move in. You are telling the universe, life, God, source, the field of creation, this is the identity through which I am participating today. And life in its mysterious way begins to echo what you keep declaring with conviction, emotion, repetition, and action. This is why you must become very tender and very awake around those 2 words. Do not place anything after I am that you do not wish to become intimate with. Do not say casually, I am broken, when what you mean is, I am healing. Do not say, I am poor, when what you mean is, I am learning a new relationship with abundance. Do not say, I am unlucky, when what you mean is, I am beginning to recognize new possibilities. Do not say, I am too old, when what you mean is, I am entering a new season with wisdom. Do not say, I am not enough, when what you mean is, I am remembering the enoughness I was born with. Words are not harmless when they are married to belief. Repeated words become pathways. Pathways become habits. Habits become identities. Identities become destinies. The mind listens, the body listens, the subconscious listens, your life listens. And most of all, the soul listens, not because the soul needs to be convinced of your worth, but because the soul waits patiently for you to stop using language against yourself. The soul already knows the truth. The soul knows you are not your wound. The soul knows you are not your bank account. The soul knows you are not the opinion of those who could not see you clearly. The soul knows you are not your mistakes, not your fear, not your rejection, not your shame, not your past, not your temporary confusion. The soul knows that I am belongs first to the eternal presence within you, the part of you that cannot be diminished by events, insulted by criticism, destroyed by failure, or abandoned by time. But the ego has borrowed those sacred words and used them to build a false identity. The ego says, I am what happened to me. The ego says, I am what they think of me. The ego says, I am my possessions, my status, my appearance, my achievements, my failures, my wounds, my fears. The ego says, I am separate. And once separation becomes the identity, fear becomes the atmosphere. Then the person begins to live defensively, grasping for approval, chasing worth, comparing endlessly, protecting old pain, rehearsing resentment, and calling this survival life. But beneath the ego's noisy declaration, there's another I am, a quieter one, a holy one, a spacious one, a presence that says, I am not separate from life. I am not separate from love. I am not separate from the source that breathes me. I am awareness. I am spirit. I am guided. I am held. I am here for a purpose. The tragedy is not that people desire too much. The tragedy is that they desire from an identity of not being enough. They say, I want success, but underneath the silent I am says, I am unworthy unless I succeed. They say, I want love, but underneath the silent I am says, I am incomplete unless someone chooses me. They say, I want abundance, but underneath the silent I am says, I am unsafe unless I control everything. They say, I want peace, but underneath the silent I am says, I am a victim of everyone else's behavior. And so the dream becomes burdened with desperation. The desire becomes tangled with fear. The prayer becomes divided. The mouth asks for one reality while the identity prepares for another. This is why transformation begins not with the outer goal, but with the inner name you have accepted. Who are you before the achievement? Who are you before the relationship? Who are you before the money? Who are you before the applause? Who are you when no one is validating you, when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when the old wound tries to rise again and remind you of what you used to believe? That is where the real work begins. Because life does not merely respond to what you want. Life responds to what you are willing to be. If you declare, I am guided, you begin to listen differently. You begin to pause before reacting. You begin to notice the quiet nudge, the subtle opening, the conversation that arrives at the right time, the intuition that whispers beneath the noise. If you declare, I am worthy, you begin to choose differently. You stop begging for crumbs from people who have no feast to offer. You stop apologizing for your needs. You stop hiding your gifts. You stop confusing humility with self-erasure. If you declare, I am abundant, you begin to relate differently to what is already here. You bless the small seed. You stop insulting the present moment. You use what you have with reverence. You open your hands to receive and to give. If you declare, I am peace, you begin to stop renting your nervous system to every disturbance. You no longer allow every passing circumstance to become the ruler of your inner world. But these declarations are not magic spells spoken without consciousness. They are spiritual commitments. The words must become embodied. I am healthy, cannot live beside daily self-betrayal. I am abundant, cannot live beside constant worship of lack. I am love, cannot live beside a secret addiction to resentment. I am free, cannot live beside the continual choice to obey old fear. The power of I am is awakened when thought, feeling, word, and action begin to move in one direction. This is alignment. This is coherence. This is when language stops being decoration and becomes creation. There is a profound difference between saying something to escape reality and saying something to create a higher relationship with reality. If you are hurting, you do not need to lie and say, I am happy, while your heart is asking to be heard. That is not spiritual truth, that is denial. But you can say, I am the awareness through which this pain is passing. You can say, I am healing. You can say, I am willing to be gentle with myself. You can say, I am not this wound. You can say, I am open to peace even now. These statements do not deny pain. They deny pain the right to become your permanent name. This distinction will set you free. Feelings may pass through you, but they do not have to become the identity after I am. Fear may visit, but do not say, I am fear. Sadness may visit, but do not say, I am sadness. Anger may rise, but do not say, I am anger. Loneliness may sit beside you, but do not say, I am alone in the universe. Say instead, fear is moving through me, but I am the one who can witness it. Sadness is moving through me, but I am the one who can hold it. Anger is moving through me, but I am the one who can listen for its message without becoming its violence. Loneliness is moving through me, but I am still connected to the source of life. In this witnessing, you reclaim the throne of consciousness. The ancient wisdom traditions have always pointed toward the sacredness of identity. Know thyself, said the old philosophers, not as an invitation to memorize your preferences, but as a call to discover the one beneath the mask. The mystics spoke of the divine presence within. The sages taught that the kingdom is not far away, not hidden in possessions, not waiting at the end of conquest, but within. The deepest prayer is not a request shouted toward a distant sky. It is the quiet remembrance of who you are in relationship with the source. When the words I am are used in their highest way, they become a bridge between the human and the divine. They become the moment where the little self stops arguing with the eternal self. Yet many people use I am as a cage. They say, I am just this kind of person. I am always anxious. I am bad with money. I am not creative. I am not lovable. I am too damaged. I am someone who never finishes. I am someone who always gets rejected. And then life begins to organize around the instruction. They do not see opportunities because the identity says opportunities are not for them. They do not receive love because the identity says love is unsafe. They do not begin because the identity says failure is inevitable. They do not speak because the identity says their voice does not matter. The cage is invisible, but it is powerful because it is carried as self-definition. The door opens the moment you say, that may have been my pattern, but it is not my essence. This sentence is liberation. The pattern is what you practiced. Essence is what you are. The pattern may be fear, but your essence is awareness. The pattern may be delay, but your essence is creative possibility. The pattern may be self-doubt, but your essence is divine worth. The pattern may be resentment, but your essence is love. You do not transform by hating the pattern. You transform by no longer calling it I am. You can say, I used to believe I was powerless, but I am remembering my choice. You can say, I used to believe I was not enough, but I am returning to worth. You can say, I used to believe scarcity was my destiny, but I am learning to receive. You can say, I used to believe I had to protect myself from life, but I am opening to trust. Notice the gentleness of this. You are not attacking the old self. You are blessing it and moving beyond it. The old self was not evil. It was afraid. It was trying to survive. It built beliefs from the materials available. It called limitation safety. It called hiding protection. It called overthinking responsibility. It called resentment strength. Thank it for trying to protect you, but do not let it continue to name you. Every morning before the world names you, name yourself. Before the notifications, before the opinions, before the demands, before the roles, before the memory of yesterday reaches for your throat, place your hand upon your heart and speak as one who knows words are seeds. Say, I am here. I am alive. I am guided. I am willing. I am not the mistakes of yesterday. I am not the fear that visits me. I am not the old story. I am a soul moving through this day with purpose. I am available to love. I am available to wisdom. I am available to peace. I am available to the highest thought I can reach and the next right action I can take. Let these words not be rushed. Let them enter the body. Let them become breath. And at night, before sleep carries you into the deeper mind, do not hand your subconscious a basket full of worry. Do not fall asleep rehearsing lack, conflict, regret, fear, or self-condemnation. The last words you speak inwardly are like seeds planted in the dark soil. Say, I am safe to release this day. I am held while I sleep. I am forgiving what I can forgive. I am learning from what I cannot yet understand. I am grateful for the blessings I noticed and the blessings I missed. I am becoming new, even in rest. I am loved by life. Then surrender. Let the deep mind be washed by a higher identity. Over time, these small rituals become inner architecture. The phrase I am is powerful because it is a doorway into the subconscious. The subconscious does not reason the way the conscious mind reasons. It receives repeated impressions. It learns through emotion, image, identity, and rhythm. If you repeatedly say with feeling, I am not safe, the body prepares for danger. If you repeatedly say, I am abandoned, the heart expects rejection. If you repeatedly say, I am incapable, the mind begins filtering for evidence of inability. But if you repeatedly say, I am supported, and then look for support, receive support, act from support, and bless support, the subconscious begins to learn a new world. At first it may feel unfamiliar. That does not mean it is false. It means the old identity is being replaced. Do not demand that the new I am feel completely natural on the first day. The old I am had years of rehearsal. Be patient with the new one. A musician does not become fluent in a new song by playing it once. A path through the forest is not formed by one footstep. A seed does not become a tree because you commanded it impatiently. Repetition with love is the way. Return to the new identity again and again. When the old voice says, I am not enough, answer, I am enough and I am growing. When the old voice says, I am behind, answer, I am in my season of becoming. When the old voice says, I am alone, answer, I am connected to life, to wisdom, to the presence within me. When the old voice says, I am stuck, answer, I am being shown the next step. The next step matters. I am becomes powerful when it leads to action. If you say, I am disciplined, then honor one promise today. If you say, I am abundant, then bless what you have and act wisely with it. If you say, I am loving, then speak to yourself without cruelty. If you say, I am free, then release one resentment that has been using your mind as a home. If you say, I am guided, then sit in silence long enough to listen. If you say, I am creative, then create something, however small. The action is the body's agreement with the word. The word plants the seed, but action waters it. Many people wait to feel worthy before they act worthy. But often you must act from the higher identity before the old feelings agree. You may not feel confident when you begin, but if you act from I am willing, confidence grows. You may not feel abundant when you bless the little, But if you act from I am grateful, abundance becomes visible. You may not feel peaceful when you pause before reacting, but if you act from I am not owned by anger, peace begins to form a pathway. Identity is not only discovered, it is practiced. You become the new I am by choosing it in small moments when the old I am asks to be obeyed. This is where inner freedom is born. Not in grand declarations alone, but in the sacred pause where you refuse to be named by fear. Someone criticizes you, and the old self says, I am rejected. The awakened self pauses and says, I am open to learning, but I am not defined by this opinion. A plan fails, and the old self says, I am a failure. The awakened self says, I am being redirected, refined, taught. Money feels tight, and the old self says, I am poor. The awakened self says, I am learning stewardship, creativity, and trust. I am open to new channels of supply. A relationship ends, and the old self says, I am unlovable. The awakened self says, I am still love, and I am still worthy of love that can meet me truthfully. Do you see the power? Nothing outside may have changed in that instant, and yet everything inside has changed. You have shifted from unconscious identification to conscious creation. You have stopped letting the event name you. You have taken back the sacred authority of I am. There is another dimension to this. The words I am should not only be used for personal achievement or personal comfort, they are also the doorway to service. When you say, I am a channel of love, your life begins asking, where can love move through me today? When you say, I am a presence of peace, your nervous system begins practicing steadiness in rooms that need calm. When you say, I am here to serve, your gifts become less about ego and more about contribution. When you say, I am connected to all life, compassion begins to widen beyond your personal desires. The highest use of I am is not to inflate the self, but to dissolve the false self so something greater can move through you. You are not here merely to collect things. You are here to express the nature of your soul. You are here to turn divine qualities into human action. Love becomes your words. Peace becomes your presence. Abundance becomes your generosity. Wisdom becomes your choices. Courage becomes your next step. Forgiveness becomes your release. Creativity becomes your offering. The I am of the soul is always connected to life, never isolated from it. It does not say, I am better. It says, I am one with the source, and therefore I can bless. This is why arrogance is not true I am. Arrogance is fear pretending to be power. Arrogance needs comparison. Arrogance says, I am more than you. The soul says, I am, and you are. The soul does not need superiority because it knows unity. The soul does not need to dominate because it is not threatened by the light in others. When you truly know I am, you do not need to make anyone else small. You can celebrate their abundance because you are not excluded. You can honor their gifts because your own gifts remain sacred. You can bless their path because your path is not erased by theirs. Comparison is one of the ways people misuse I am. They look at another life and say, I am behind. They see another person's success and say, I am not special. They see another period beauty and say, I am lacking. They see another person's relationship and say, I am forgotten. But comparison is the ego's distorted mirror. It shows you a fragment of someone else's life and asks you to condemn the entirety of your own. Do not accept that invitation. Say instead, I am on my path. I am in my unfolding. I am willing to learn, grow, and receive what is aligned for me. Another person's blessing is not evidence of my absence from grace. The sun does not compare itself to the moon. The river does not compare itself to the mountain. The rose does not apologize because it is not a lily. Each expression of life carries its own beauty, timing, rhythm, and purpose. Your I am must return to your own soul, not to the measurements of the world. The world may ask, are you impressive? The soul asks, are you true? The world may ask, are you ahead? The soul asks, are you awake? The world may ask, are you admired? The soul asks, are you aligned? The power of I am is also the power of forgiveness. Many people continue to say, I am the person who was betrayed. I am the one who was abandoned. I am the one who was hurt. I am the one who lost everything. And yes, something happened. Yes, the pain was real. Yes, the wound deserves compassion. But if you make the wound your name, you carry the past into every future room. Forgiveness is not saying the wound did not matter. Forgiveness is saying, I will not let the wound become my deepest I am. You can say, I was hurt, but I am healing. I was betrayed, but I am reclaiming trust in myself. I was abandoned, but I am not abandoned by life. I lost something, but I am still connected to the source that can create anew. This is not denial. This is resurrection of identity. There are no justified resentments if what you truly want is freedom. The ego will argue with this. It will bring evidence. It will say, but they were wrong. Perhaps they were. It will say, but I have a right to be angry. Perhaps anger had its place, but resentment is not anger moving through. Resentment is anger turned into identity. It says, I am the one who must keep this pain alive. It chains your sacred I am to the behavior of another person. Forgiveness returns your I am to your soul. It says, I am free. I am no longer available to be shaped by this injury. I am releasing the emotional contract. I am taking back my life force. The two words I am become especially powerful in the present moment because the present moment is the only place where creation occurs. You cannot say I am yesterday. You cannot say I am tomorrow. You can only say it now. The ego lives in I was and I will be. The soul lives in I am. The ego says, I was wounded, therefore I am limited. The soul says, I am aware now, therefore I can choose. The ego says, I will be happy someday. The soul says, I am opening to peace now. The ego says, I will be worthy when. The soul says, I am worthy, and from worthiness I grow. Living in the now is not a poetic luxury. It is the return of power. The past can teach you, but it cannot choose for you unless you keep giving it the pen. The future can inspire you, but it cannot save you from the responsibility of this breath. The only moment where you can plant a new identity is this moment. The only moment where you can interrupt the old pattern is this moment. The only moment where you can speak a truer I am is this moment. Here, in this breath, you can stop saying, I am what happened, and begin saying, I am what chooses now. And what should you choose? Choose the highest truth you can genuinely inhabit. If I am fearless feels false, choose I am willing to move with courage. If I am wealthy feels unreachable, choose I am opening to wise abundance. If I am healed feels too far, choose I am healing with love. If I am completely peaceful feels impossible, choose I am returning to peace one breath at a time. The soul does not demand theatrical statements. It asks for honest alignment. A true small statement has more power than a large false one. The goal is not to impress the universe with language. The goal is to align your being with truth. There is a sacred humility in saying, I am willing. These may be two of the most transformative words that can follow the first two. I am willing to see differently. I am willing to release this resentment. I am willing to receive abundance. I am willing to be guided. I am willing to stop abandoning myself. I am willing to let love be safe. Willingness opens the door without pretending the whole house has already been rebuilt. Willingness is the crack where light enters. Willingness is the softening of the defended heart. Willingness is the moment the ego stops gripping so tightly and allows the soul to breathe. Sometimes the most powerful declaration is not loud. It is whispered through tears. I am still here. There are people who need to hear that. After everything you have endured, after every disappointment, after every season you thought would break you, after every night you did not know how to continue, there is still breath in your body. There is still awareness. There is still a flame. I am still here is not a small statement. It is a holy one. It means life has not finished speaking through you. It means the story did not end where the pain began. It means there is still a path, still a calling, still a possibility, still a version of you waiting to be remembered. Say, I am still here, and I am willing to begin again. This statement can change a life, not because it erases the past, but because it refuses to let the past erase you. Beginning again is one of the great privileges of being alive. The dawn begins again without shame. The seasons begin again without apology. The heart after grief can learn to open again. The mind after fear can learn to trust again. The spirit after years of forgetting can remember again. You may wonder, How do I know which I am is true? Listen to what expands the soul without inflating the ego. A true I am brings quiet strength, not frantic superiority. It brings peace, not performance. It brings responsibility, not entitlement. It brings compassion, not separation. It brings courage, not aggression. It brings openness, not grasping. When you say, I am guided, and it leads you into stillness, wisdom, and action, you are close to truth. When you say, I am powerful, and it leads you into service, integrity, and courage, you are close to truth. When you say, I am worthy, and it leads you into self-respect and respect for others, you are close to truth. But if an I am makes you need to dominate, impress, belittle, or escape responsibility, that is the ego borrowing spiritual language. The soul's I am is always rooted in love. Even when it is firm, it is loving. I am worthy may require you to leave a situation. I am peace may require you to stop participating in chaos. I am love may require boundaries. I am truth may require an honest conversation. I am free may require releasing a habit, a resentment, an addiction to approval. Love is not always soft in the way the ego expects. Sometimes love is the quiet power that says no more self-betrayal, no more pretending, no more living from the old name. Your body can help you embody I am. Stand differently, breathe differently. Walk as though you are not apologizing for existing. Let your shoulders soften. Let your face unclench. Let your heart be open but not unguarded. The body and the mind speak to each other constantly. If you declare peace while the body is braced like a battlefield, pause and breathe until the body can receive the word. If you declare worthiness while shrinking, gently straighten and let the declaration enter your posture. The body is not separate from consciousness. It is the living temple where your I am becomes visible. Your environment also echoes your I am. If you say, I am becoming clear, begin clearing the spaces you live in. If you say, I am abundant, treat your resources with respect. If you say, I am creative, make a place for creation. If you say, I am peaceful, reduce the unnecessary noise you keep inviting into your life. If you say, I am worthy, stop surrounding yourself with voices that require your smallness. The outer life does not need to be perfect, but let it become an ally to the new identity. Let your room, your calendar, your conversations, your habits, your digital world, your daily rituals begin to support the I am you are choosing. And do not forget silence. Silence is where I am returns to its purest form. Before you say, I am this or I am that, simply sit in the quiet experience of I am. No adjective, no role, no achievement, no wound, just I am. Feel the existence beneath all description. Feel the awareness that remains when the story pauses. This is the sacred ground. From here, every true declaration becomes more powerful because it rises from being rather than performance. In silence, you do not need to prove I am. You simply are, and that being is enough. The world will continue to offer you names. It will call you successful or unsuccessful, attractive or unattractive, young or old, important or invisible, ahead or behind, chosen or rejected. Let the world speak, but do not let it become the final authority. Return inward. Ask, what does the soul know? The soul knows, I am more than the world's changing opinion. Today they may praise you, tomorrow they may misunderstand you. Today something may rise, tomorrow something may fall. But the presence within you is deeper than the rise and fall. Anchor there. When you anchor in a true I am, your life becomes less reactive. You stop needing every circumstance to confirm you. You stop collapsing when something changes. You stop making rejection mean you are unworthy. You stop making delay mean you are forgotten. You stop making uncertainty mean you are unsafe. You stop making another person's behavior the definition of your inner state. This does not make you cold. It makes you rooted. A rooted person can feel deeply without being destroyed by feeling. A rooted person can love deeply without losing self. A rooted person can pursue dreams without becoming desperate. A rooted person can receive abundance without worshiping it. Let I am become a daily spiritual discipline, not a shallow affirmation, but a conscious way of living. When you catch yourself saying, I am exhausted, pause and ask, is this a temporary feeling or an identity I am reinforcing? Perhaps say, I am tired and I am worthy of rest. When you say, I am overwhelmed, pause and say, I am feeling overwhelmed and I can take one step. When you say, I am angry, pause and say, anger is here. and I am listening without becoming destructive. This small shift from identity to awareness is profound. It places you back in relationship with the experience rather than inside a prison made of it. And when you speak the higher I am, let it be followed by humility and responsibility. I am abundant, therefore I steward wisely. I am loved, therefore I love myself and others with maturity. I am powerful, therefore I use my energy with integrity. I am guided, therefore I create silence and take action. I am free, therefore I stop choosing the chains I complain about. I am worthy, therefore I honor my life. The declaration opens the door. Responsibility walks through it. There will be moments when the old identity returns with great force. It may happen after disappointment, criticism, fatigue, conflict, loss, or uncertainty. The old I am will sound convincing because it speaks with the accent of the past. It will say, see, nothing changes. See, you are not enough. See, life cannot be trusted. In those moments, do not panic. Do not shame yourself. Simply recognize the old program is asking for renewal. Then breathe and choose again. Say, I see you, old fear. I understand why you came. But I am not renewing this agreement today. This is mastery. Not never being visited by the old, but no longer giving the old your signature. You are allowed to revise your identity. You are allowed to outgrow the names you inherited. You are allowed to stop being the strong one who never receives. You are allowed to stop being the invisible one who never speaks. You are allowed to stop being the wounded one who never trusts. You are allowed to stop being the struggling one who never prospers. You are allowed to stop being the guilty one who never rests. You are allowed to stop being the pleasing one who never chooses themselves. These were roles, not your essence. You can bless the role, retire it, and return to the soul. Say, I am no longer available to live beneath my spiritual identity. Let that sentence move through you. You are not here to live as a diminished version of yourself because of fear. You are not here to keep repeating the same emotional inheritance without question. You are not here to wait for permission to become whole. You are here to remember. You are here to awaken. You are here to let the divine qualities within you find human expression. I am is the beginning of creation, but it is also the beginning of surrender. The highest I am is not merely personal, it is universal. When you say I am one with life, the small self relaxes. When you say I am held by a wisdom greater than my worry, control begins to soften. When you say I am willing to be used for love, your life becomes an instrument. This is the place where achievement becomes service, abundance becomes circulation, healing becomes compassion, and personal growth becomes a blessing to the world. You may begin with simple declarations. I am willing, I am learning, I am healing, I am guided, I am safe to grow, I am worthy of love, I am open to abundance, I am becoming disciplined. I am forgiving myself. I am releasing what no longer serves my soul. I am listening. I am present. I am enough. Say them not as noise, but as seeds. Then live today in a way that waters one of them. If you say, I am present, be present for one conversation. If you say, I am forgiving, release one mental replay. If you say, I am abundant, express gratitude for one thing and take one wise action with your resources. If you say, I am creative, make one honest offering. If you say, I am peaceful, pause before one reaction. Let the declaration become flesh through practice. Over time, something beautiful happens. The new I am stops feeling like a sentence you are trying to believe and becomes the atmosphere you live from. You no longer have to fight so hard to remember worthiness because self-betrayal begins to feel unnatural. You no longer have to force gratitude because complaint begins to feel heavy. You no longer have to chase peace because chaos begins to lose its seduction. You no longer have to beg yourself to take action because honoring your purpose becomes part of who you are. This is the fruit of repetition, awareness, and alignment. There is a version of you waiting beneath every false I am you have ever accepted. Beneath I am not enough, there is I am whole. Beneath I am afraid, there is I am guided. Beneath I am unlovable, there is I am love. Beneath I am stuck, there is I am becoming. Beneath I am alone, there is I am connected. Beneath I am my past, there is I am free now. The work is not to invent this self. The work is to uncover it. You do not need the world to agree before you begin. Do not wait for circumstances to say, now you may feel worthy. Do not wait for money to say, now you may feel abundant. Do not wait for a relationship to say, now you may feel lovable. Do not wait for success to say, now you may feel enough. That is living backward. Begin inside. Claim the spiritual essence now, then let your thoughts, actions, and choices become congruent with it. The outer may take time to reorganize, but the inner shift happens in the sacred immediacy of now. And when the outer life begins to change, remember the source. Do not let achievement become your new I am. Do not say, I am valuable because I succeeded. Say, I succeeded because I began living from value. Do not say, I am lovable because someone chose me. Say, love could meet me because I stopped abandoning myself. Do not say, I am abundant because I have more. Say, more could flow because I became available to abundance. Let the inner truth remain primary. Forms can change, but essence must remain your home. The two words I am have so much power because they stand at the meeting place of the human and the eternal. Used unconsciously, they bind you to old patterns. Used consciously, they open you to divine remembrance. They can build prisons or sanctuaries. They can reinforce fear or awaken faith. They can shrink your world or expand your being. They can keep you living as the wounded self or invite you into the soul self. So speak carefully, think carefully, feel consciously, act congruently. Let your I am become a sacred practice. Let it be purified of shame. Let it be freed from resentment. Let it be lifted beyond comparison. Let it be rooted in love. Let it be expressed through service. Let it be humble enough to listen and strong enough to choose. Let it stop serving the false self and begin serving the truth. Today, when you hear yourself say, I am, pause. Listen to what follows. Ask, is this a prison or a doorway? Is this the ego speaking from fear or the soul speaking from truth? Is this a wound trying to become my name or wisdom trying to guide my next step? Then choose again. Choose the word that heals. Choose the identity that frees. Choose the declaration that aligns with the highest within you. Say, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become from this moment. I am not the voice of fear. I am the awareness that can witness fear and move with courage. I am not the old limitation. I am the living presence through which new possibilities can emerge. I am not separate from love. I am not separate from guidance. I am not separate from the source of abundance. I am willing to remember. I am willing to receive. I am willing to forgive. I am willing to begin. Let that be enough for today. A beginning, a seed, a quiet revolution in consciousness. Do not underestimate it. The river begins with drops. The dawn begins with a subtle light. A life changes first as a whisper within the soul. And perhaps the whisper is this: I am here, I am awake, I am loved, I am guided, I am enough, I am becoming, I am free. Carry those words gently. Carry them into your morning, your work, your relationships, your silence, your uncertainty, your healing, your dreams. Let them become a lamp within you. Let them interrupt the old spell. Let them remind you that your deepest identity was never assigned by pain. It was given by the sacred source of life itself. You are not here to spend your life repeating the names fear gave you. You are here to remember the name written in the soul before fear arrived. You are here to let I am become holy again. You are here to stand in the quiet authority of being, not as a performance, not as pride, not as denial, but as truth. And from that truth, let your life unfold. I am. Before the story, I am. Beneath the wound, I am. Beyond the fear, I am. Within the silence, I am. Held by life, I am. Guided by wisdom, I am. Loved by source, I am. Free to choose again, I am. Worthy of receiving, I am. Capable of healing, I am. Available to peace, I am. A channel of love, I am. A living expression of divine possibility, I am. And when you live from that remembrance, the world may still change around you, but you will no longer be so easily changed by the world. You will move from a deeper center. You will speak from a clearer place. You will choose from a higher identity. You will begin to see that the power was never in the words alone, but in the consciousness behind them. The words I am are the doorway. Your awareness is the key. Your life is the temple. Enter with reverence. Speak with love. Choose with courage. Become with grace.